Who was the woman who made Lana Turner both uncontrollably infatuated and utterly hateful? A Hollywood star, a secret love, a scar that never healed. In the shadows backstage, Lana whispered a name and never forgave. The birth of a legend, Lana Turner. A name globally revered as a cinematic icon, yet few remember that she was initially Julia Jean Turner, born on February 8, 1921 in Wallace, a quiet, tiny town nestled in the Idaho mountains. From a place where dreams often vanished with the morning mist, she stepped directly into the heart of a dream not for the faint of heart, Hollywood. Her journey from timid steps in her hometown to the pinnacle of international stardom was a symphony of highs and lows, of light and shadow. Her honey blonde hair, breathtaking beauty, and enigmatic gaze made her both coveted and feared. Turner didn't just play alluring roles, she embodied seduction, igniting the concept of an era where a single glance could alter a film's destiny. She was only 16 at the time. One day, skipping class, she sat lost in thought with a soda at a Los Angeles counter, and then the invisible hand of fate gently tapped her shoulder. A talent scout happened to pass by, and in that instant, the young girl entered the grand mirror of cinema, where every reflection is magnified. They won't forget, 1937 was her first introduction to the world. A small role, a fleeting image, yet it left such an indelible mark that she was nicknamed the Sweater Girl, a moniker that stayed with her through her early years. At MGM Studios, Turner began climbing the fiery ladder, eventually becoming an indispensable name whenever Hollywood spoke. The pinnacle of stardom, from the soft melodies of musicals to the dark nuances of psychological thrillers, Turner seemed to transform her soul with every frame. Masterpieces like Ziegfeld Girl, The Postman Always Rings Twice, Imitation of Life, and Peyton Place. Each title a landmark resonating with lasting impact. And then, when an Oscar nomination came for Peyton Place, Turner was no longer just an actress, she was a living testament to an era. Despite the turbulent whirlwinds of her private life, Turner appeared consistently from the 1960s to the 1980s. Whether on stage or in television frames like Falcon Crest, she remained herself, glamorous, cool, and irreplaceable. As the world changed and younger faces emerged, Lana Turner remained the final reminder of a beauty that refused to fade. Towards the end of her life, she gradually revealed the deeper layers beneath her glittering facade. In her 1982 autobiography, Lana, the Lady, the Legend. The truth, Turner led readers through the darkest corridors of fame, where loneliness lurked, where applause sometimes wasn't enough to drown out silent sobs in the night. Yet interwoven between the somber lines, there was always a simmering pride for what she had dared to achieve. Tragedy in Beverly Hills. Turner's romantic life. It's truly difficult to separate it from her roles. 8 times she stepped into the ritual of vows with 7 different men. Each romance played out like a film reel, never fully shown. The storms in her real life were sometimes even more dramatic than any script MGM ever wrote. And then, with profound irony, Turner herself once smiled and quipped, "I wanted 1 husband and 7 children, but it turned out the other way around." A joke, but a bitter confession wrapped in the fine silk of humor. Among all those fragmented pieces, there was only one thing she managed to keep intact, her only daughter, Cheryl. But even that bond was cruelly tested by a night from which those involved never truly escaped. It was 1958. Cheryl was just 14. Johnny Stompanato, the man who was with Turner at the time, was a name shrouded in darkness with invisible ties leading to rooms beyond the reach of the law. His relationship with Turner, rumor had, it was a series of bleak days. Then, one April night in a Beverly Hills mansion, something crossed a line. Cheryl walked in, Amidst an atmosphere thick with choked sounds, the young girl did something no one thought a child could do. And then, in a moment, where time seemed to freeze, a man never walked out of that house again. No screams, no clear images, just a strange stillness after an unspoken incident. News spread like a smoky plume. Every newspaper, every headline gravitated towards the event. What had happened was called by many names, but none were enough to describe the haunting silence that permeated that house. Cheryl, with forced composure, recounted everything before the investigators. Each small detail was like peeling back memories from an unhealed wound. Ultimately, the jury ruled that the girl had acted for something greater than herself. No one was imprisoned, but the intangible scars followed them for the rest of their lives. Lana Turner, already bearing too many fractures, now faced her most brutal role, a mother who could not forget that night, who could not erase the boundary between love and fear. A Hollywood icon, now merely a silent woman in frames where applause no longer echoed. Tumultuous Romances. Lana Turner's list of marriages isn't just a collection of romantic milestones. It's a complex tapestry woven from the glittering, fractured pieces of mid-20th century high society. Her first entanglement began in 1940 with Artie Shaw, the clarinet virtuoso and jazz band leader. It was a fiery connection, yet as fragile as a piece of music played too fast. Within a few short months, their harmony dissolved, giving way to cold silence, ending before it could reach its highest note. Shaw was a frighteningly intelligent man with ironclad principles and a temper that flared like wildfire. Turner, still wavering between her ingenue image and a desperate need to be understood, soon realized that the stage lights couldn't illuminate the depths of a person's soul. After that initial impulsive fling, she sought another connection, a marriage with Joseph Stephen Crane, a man who possessed both a dashing actor's appearance and his own ambitions. In 1942, they stepped into a sweet but fleeting union, shadowed by an unresolved past. One of Crane's previous commitments had not been fully severed. Their first wedding was annulled, but they bravely stepped into the light once more, remarrying in late 1943. But like a missed beat in a song, this second union ended even faster than the first, with a divorce the following year. Nevertheless, from that time, Cheryl Crane was born in July of the same year, a tiny life amidst a whirlwind of emotions, becoming Turner's only anchor later in life, a living witness to both love and chaos. Bob Topping. Her third husband presented a different portrait, a tycoon with a polished facade and silver trophies from the East Coast. Married in 1948, they were once the dream image of Hollywood and Manhattan. But soon, heavy drinks outweighed promises, and the pressure of fame caused the mirror of their love to shatter into tiny pieces. They parted ways in 1952, leaving a hollow echo in Turner's life. By 1953, Turner said "I do" to Lex Barker, the man who once played Tarzan on screen. He was a man with a heroic image, but behind his eyes was something she couldn't quite name at the time. Years later, another door opened. Cheryl, in a moment of brutal honesty, revealed a dark, unlit corner, things no one dared to imagine had occurred within that seemingly safe home. Turner didn't need to speak. Her swift and decisive withdrawal in 1957 spoke volumes. Fred May, her fifth husband, didn't belong to the stage or the spotlight. A rancher and successful businessman, he represented the quiet stability Turner had once craved. In 1960, she hoped to find a windless field, a place where no shadows would cross her life. But the vast differences between them suffocated every tiny hope. 2 years later, the marriage ended like a midday dream that never fully materialized. Robert Eaton appeared in 1965, a late-night hypnotist, a master of dreamy moments. Their initial attraction was like a game of minds. But just like many times before, reality wasn't gentle enough to prolong the illusion. In 1969, when the mask fell, Turner once again found herself alone in the wedding dress she had hoped would be her last. Her final marriage, and also the darkest chapter, occurred in the same year with Ronald Peller, also known as Dr. Dante, a man shrouded in mystery who claimed to read minds guided by intuition. But after a short time, the sparkling light around him turned into the stench of a con game. Amidst whispers of vanishing money and cunning manipulations, Turner realized that this time the wound wasn't in her heart, but in her depleted trust. She filed for divorce in 1972, ending a magic show with no audience left. Peller later spiraled into legal troubles unrelated to Turner, but his bad reputation still haunted her image like an ink stain on a white cloth. Despite countless breakages, Turner always moved forward, head held high, her charming smile unfading as if it were all just temporary roles, and she herself was the real stage. Whispers in the dark. Her legacy is a bold juxtaposition, a dazzling beauty icon, yet also a woman who survived countless silent battles. In the harsh crucible called Hollywood, where bright lights often served to obscure hidden corners, Turner was one of the rare few who dared to reveal the cracks beneath her flawless makeup. And amidst that flash-filled space, whispers never truly faded. Lana Turner was not only surrounded by men, but also by quiet relationships with other women. Some of these, according to fragmented accounts, were once prominent names whom Turner later declared she could no longer tolerate. Betrayal, jealousy, shattered dreams. All these suppressed emotions were encapsulated in a list she once whispered in a private conversation, a list where each name was an indelible mark never to be erased. First, Barbara Stanwyck. The murmurs in the studio hallways from the 1940s never truly died down. During evenings untouched by stage lights, it was rumored that Lana and Barbara shared many moments not meant for public eyes. Barbara, older, more seasoned, was said to be the one who opened the first door, proactively writing the opening chapter of an unnamed Bond at Paramount. But then, like a scene cut from the final edit, everything fractured. Lana, always craving a warm presence, was left behind as Barbara retreated into the impenetrable shell she was famous for never letting anyone touch. "She taught me how to lie with just a look," Lana once sighed, her eyes clouded with an unnameable sadness, then used that same look to turn me into a stranger. Second, Greta Garbo. An unassailable icon, Garbo was a dream wrapped in mist. Her captivating aloofness once drew Lana into a circle, surrounded by silence and innuendo. They shared a quiet time together until Garbo, as always, recoiled from the light. Lana, always seeking recognition, once again found herself becoming invisible. "She was a ghost with lipstick on," Turner once said, "and just when I needed to be seen, she disappeared." They never spoke again. No closure. Just a quiet void between two souls that had once touched. Third, Tallulah Bankhead, a storm in human form. She entered Turner's life like an explosion of light, then withdrew, leaving a burning afterglow. This connection, though brief, was so intense that public opinion has never fully grasped the truth. Lana once said she was as wild as uncorked liquor, and I was just a souvenir she picked up in the night and left behind on the table. Things turned icy after a party, where Tallulah allegedly recounted everything as a humorous anecdote. Lana said nothing, but the way she remained silent from then until Bankhead was no longer in this world was the cruelest punishment. Fourth, Ann Sheridan. Warner Brothers' fiery oomph girl once exchanged glances that Turner read like a secret code. They met amidst smoke-filled parties and half-joking words. A simmering fire burned for years until a role both coveted went to Lana. Anne disappeared without explanation. Lana, bitter but proud, whispered to a friend, "I used to lie next to her, but in the end, she was the only one who got the attention. This rift for Turner wasn't simply about work. It was a crack in her trust. Fifth, Marlene Dietrich, a dream with a European scent. Marlene was the embodiment of boundless allure. It was rumored that they had dark encounters where words mattered less than gazes. But Dietrich, with her dominant nature, always maintained an emotional distance. Lana, unable to endure that icy wall, left carrying with her a cutting remark. She dressed like a man, kissed like a goddess, and had looked at me as if I were a mirror. That coldness didn't enrage Lana. It made her feel she wasn't real enough to be truly loved. Sixth, Joan Crawford. No rivalry in classic Hollywood simmered as intensely as between Lana and Joan. Their connection allegedly began from an overly perfect symmetry, beauty fame, a desire for supremacy. But then, like a crack in crystal one night at a party, pushed everything beyond limits. Joan, according to accounts, flirted with the man who was then Lana Turner's husband. Lana exploded. She was like poison in a pearl, she once said, flawless on the outside, but inside utter betrayal. "I don't hate many people," Turner once hissed, "but what she did I can't forget." Seventh, Jean Tierney. A figure as beautiful as poetry, as sad as a wordless melody. As Lana wandered lost amidst her own losses, Jean appeared as a refuge. They spent time together, quiet, profound, and fragile as a breath. But the emotional turmoil in Jean's mind soon submerged everything. Lana retreated, carrying the haunting feeling of one who turned away when they should have stayed. "She needed to be saved," Turner later whispered. "I just brought her another fire." Jean was a name Lana could never look back on, not out of anger, but out of shame. Nothing was ever confirmed. But those whispers persist like echoes backstage. They don't just tell of a list of lovers. They are the winding emotional map Lana had to traverse barefoot and wounded. They are the indelible shadows that refuse to fade long after the stage lights have gone out. The final curtain call. Beyond a career spanning over 5 decades, Turner was bound by habits that left indelible marks. From a rising star in the late 1930s to one of MGM's immortal faces during its golden age, she didn't just live in the glamorous world, she was consumed by it. Turner embodied a Hollywood where shimmering dreams often came at an unspeakable cost. It was June 29, 1995. The sky over Century City gave no warning. In the quiet solitude of her familiar home, Lana Turner, the woman who once made the whole world turn its head, gently withdrew from life's stage. She passed away at 74. By her side, as a complete end to all the prior chaos, was her daughter Cheryl, the only one who truly understood the layers of hurt beneath the surface of a legend. According to Cheryl, everything happened like an unforeseen curtain drop. Though she had fought long battles with her body and time, Turner always made people believe she would win one more time. The pallor of her skin after prolonged radiation therapy didn't dim the light in her eyes. They still believed just recently that she would rise again. But then, before hope could even materialize, the door closed. Her death was not just a final silence. It was a profound void, not only due to loss, but because of its cruel unexpectedness. A soul that once shone like a sunset behind dark clouds, leaving behind long streaks of beauty, that once captivated the screen of dazzling fame, intertwined with scandal of an unwavering resilience that never surrendered to public opinion. And finally, a last beauty, the noble serenity in the way she faced her final days without noise, without tragedy, with only one thing remaining: peace. Lana Turner didn't just live, she existed as a legend, deeply etched into Hollywood's darkest corners, where fame and loneliness always walked hand in hand. What do you think about the secrets that were never officially confirmed? About the whispered loves, the names never spoken aloud? If you also feel that something remains untold, please Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because buried truths are always waiting to be revealed here.